Eubank says he'll retire if Ben beats him. Can you see where that thought process comes from? Obviously Conor stepping up 2 weights, the amount of bad blood there's been.
Yeah, maybe then you just don't know. Maybe where does he go from there if Conor beats him? I'm not trying to say Conor's any less of him, but yeah, Chris is obviously the guy who should beat him because he's a lot heavier, maybe more seasoned, but you know, it's definitely a 50-50 fight in my eyes. I think Conor's going to beat him. So yeah, you can see where that thought process comes from, but you know, who knows? I know Chris likes to play poker a lot, so maybe comes back for the money or something. Don't know.
Darren is not holding back when it comes to Chris Eubank Jr. He made a huge statement saying that if Conor Benn beats Eubank, he will retire. That's a big claim, and Darren can see why he's saying it. Ben is making a big jump in weight, and considering the history between these two, a loss for Eubank would be a disaster. But here's the twist. Darren doesn't see this as an easy win for Eubank. He actually thinks it's a close fight, 50-50. Eubank has the size, experience, and toughness, but Ben has a relentless style and aggressive energy that could cause trouble. The big question is whether Eubank really means what he's saying, or if it's just a mind game. Darren mentions that Eubank is known for playing mental games, so maybe he's trying to set up a bigger payday if Ben pulls off an upset. Will Eubank actually retire? Or is this just a clever move to keep everyone guessing?
I think Chris is leaps and bounds ahead of Conor. You know, his experience, the guys he's been in with, you know, take away the weight because, you know, Chris is obviously going to be disadvantaged in there with the weight as well. But just ability, you know, boxing skill set is on a completely different level.
Without a doubt, Harlem believes Chris Eubank Jr. is far ahead of Conor Benn. This fight is not just about weight or power. While everyone focuses on the weight cut and size advantage, Harlem sees a different gap. One that comes from Chris's elite experience, high boxing IQ, and ability to handle pressure. Chris has been through tough battles with top-level opponents, while Ben, despite his aggression and knockout power, hasn't faced that kind of challenge yet. However, there's a twist. Chris will be at a weight disadvantage, as he'll have to cut weight to meet the limit. This raises the question, will that make the fight more even, or will Chris's skills still stand out? On the other hand, Ben's relentless style could turn this into an all-out fight. But Harlem strongly believes Chris is on a different level. The real test is coming, and Harlem is confident that his cousin will expose Ben's lack of experience and prove why he belongs among the best in boxing. Who do you think will win in this exciting fight? Share your thoughts in the comments, and tell us what you think will happen when these two clash.
Eubank got enough left in him to deal with someone who's going to be lots of energy, and Ben is really what he is. He hasn't really boxed at the caliber of Eubank. So it's like, Ben's been calling me out for years. He's the best guy calling people out, not fighting them. I think he's called every person out on the face of the earth and never fucking fought them. And he's just waited out for this Eubank fight. But it's fucking funny.
Josh Kelly isn't holding back either. He's questioning whether Chris Eubank Jr. has enough left to deal with the non-stop energy Conor Benn brings to the ring. But on the other hand, he's not fully convinced about Ben either. The real issue is whether Ben is as good as he says he is, since he hasn't faced opponents at Eubank's level. Kelly also takes a shot at Ben's history of calling out people, but not actually fighting them. He points out that Ben has spent years challenging others but never following through with those fights. Even worse, Kelly believes Ben is just waiting for one big payday, playing the long game while keeping the hype alive. The big question is whether Ben's strategy is clever or just a trick to keep people guessing. When the moment of truth comes, will Ben back up his words, or will he find a way to avoid the real challenge again?
I believe Chris is going to win.
But you don't want Conor Benn to win, do you?
Listen, I want Chris to win.
Why?
Because of certain situations, I want Chris to win.
You've been very tough on him on the last 2.5 years.
Not tough, mate.
Yeah, no, he's been exonerated. I think you've been very strong the whole way on it. Listen, I've got a microphone slapped out of my hands.
Let me say this. Let's do this. He's been cleared. It's a difference. He's been cleared.
He's been exonerated, yeah.
He's not proved his innocence. He's been cleared. Let's make this right. Let's put it on the line. That's where we're...
Spencer Oliver didn't hold back with his strong criticism of Conor Benn. He slammed Ben for the failed drug test and made it clear that no PR stunt could erase what happened. Oliver emphasized that just because Ben was cleared to fight legally, it doesn't mean he proved his innocence. He also criticized the boxing authorities for what he sees as favoritism, and argued that letting Benn move forward without proper accountability sets a dangerous example for the sport. But Gareth A. Davis wasn't having it. He strongly defended Benn, dismissing Oliver's accusations as an unfair attack. The real question is whether Benn should still be judged for his past, or if he deserves a fresh start. Now, the pressure is on. Will Benn silence his critics once and for all? Or will his past continue to haunt his career?
No, we are on good terms. I don't believe he didn't know about it.
No, you know I didn't know.
No, I don't, because I think you're a little bit snaky.
No, you know I didn't know.
No.
Don't talk.
No. Because, no.
You can't say things.
No, stop, because then I'll take you through it. Listen, I've been very nice to you lately.
You can't say
and I've been very nice to you lately. I've given you a big education in the last couple of weeks. I've told you were very lucky to be talking to me. Right. But we do get on well. We actually have a bit of banter. He actually, if you don't mind me saying, he was asking me potentially to go and box.
Even worse, Adam Smith wasn't just frustrated. He was furious about the growing tension. He made it clear that he wasn't buying the excuses being made. While everyone else seemed to be getting along publicly, Smith saw through the thin excuses and called out what he believed was a sneaky, calculated approach. He didn't hold back in expressing how fed up he was with always being patient, only to be met with subtle dismissals and a lack of respect. But just when things seemed like they couldn't get more heated, Smith flipped the situation. He lightened the mood with some unexpected jokes, even joking about joining them on Boxers B, leaving everyone wondering if there was a deeper message. In his words, the big question now is whether this situation will blow up into a full fallout, or if there's still a chance to fix things before it's too late.
Fired off. Conor's his dad's son, and his dad's exactly the same. And the Eubanks and the Benns, they know each other's strengths and weaknesses. And so there'll always be that family rivalry going on. And Chris's aloof personality, riles Conor, like his dad did, with their dads did. So he knows exactly what he's got to do.
Johnny Nelson doesn't hold back in his thoughts about Conor Benn. He calls out Benn for crossing a dangerous line with his reckless comments and erratic behavior. Nelson is concerned about Benn's unpredictable actions and refuses to ignore the controversy that follows him. On the other hand, when Nelson turns his attention to Chris Eubank Jr., he praises Eubank's dedication and consistency. Eubank Jr. has shown a strong commitment to building his own legacy, staying resilient despite the distractions around him. But here's where it gets complicated. While Eubank Jr. stays focused on his goal, the drama surrounding Benn continues to make headlines, overshadowing his potential. This creates doubt, with fans and experts wondering if Benn can truly live up to his potential. The big question is, can Benn silence the noise around him and let his performance prove himself? Or will the chaos and controversy derail his career when it counts the most?
I think with Chris, this is purely business. This is purely business. I don't think he quite likes him very much. No. But I'm telling you now, it's a good thing that Conor's in Spain. Because imagine them two bumping into each other on London High Street on a Sunday afternoon.
We don't need that, do we?
No one needs that, no one wants it, but it's inevitable. So you literally have to navigate your way through these camps and keep these two boys away from each other, because
keep the lid on.
I've been there with this kind of animosity, and I've been there with this kind of domestic rivalry. It eats away at you. It's not nice. No. It literally eats away at you. It's on your mind daily, and you just, it gets to it's an intense build-up. Like I say, I've been there.
On the other side, Tony Bellew doesn't hold back when talking about the growing rivalry between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. He makes it clear that this isn't just about a fight, it's personal. Bellew points out that the bad blood between these two goes much deeper than the sport itself, with years of tension building up beneath the surface. This isn't your typical matchup. The animosity is so intense that Bellew warns a neutral setting could easily turn chaotic if these two are in the same room. He stresses the mental pressure a personal rivalry like this puts on fighters, knowing from experience how grudges can consume a fighter's mind, affecting their performance. The pressure builds over time, and when it reaches a boiling point, the outcome becomes unpredictable. Bellew predicts that this fight won't just be a technical battle. It will be a war of emotions,
transcending boxing itself. The big question is, can these emotions be contained until fight night, or will the personal vendetta boil over before they even step into the ring?
But there's no honour in smacking someone with an egg. Shouldn't have happened.
How do you think the fight's going to play out?
I'm backing Conor Benn. I know Conor, spoke to him a few times. Always been a top bloke to me. His dad's a top bloke, his dad's a legend, and I'll be backing him. But it's going to be difficult, as he's already alluded to, the two weight divisions coming up. But it'll also be difficult for Eubank to stay within that hydration clause, I think it is. So it's all to play for both men.
Johnny Fisher isn't holding back. He's fully supporting Conor Benn, and his reasons are clear. Benn is not just any fighter. He carries a legacy as the son of a boxing legend, with a heart and spirit to match. Fisher, who's had many deep conversations with Benn, has no doubt about his skills and his readiness to take on the challenge. But here's where it gets intense. This fight is far from easy. Benn is stepping up 2 weight divisions, which is a huge challenge that he's fully aware of and has openly acknowledged. The real question now is whether Eubank Jr. can handle the pressure of the hydration clause. Fisher believes this could be Eubank's weakness and may change the entire dynamic of the fight. This isn't just another match. It's a key moment for both fighters to solidify their legacies. Benn has the heart, fire, and raw talent to go the distance, but the battle will be tough from start to finish. The stakes are incredibly high. Who will rise to the occasion, and who will crack under the pressure? The tension is at an all-time high, and only time will tell.
Yeah, I think the difficulty for Conor Benn in this fight is the weight and is the size. I think he's a better fighter. And I think at a natural weight class, he's a big favourite in the fight. But coming up 2 weight classes, it makes it a 50-50 fight. And you ain't going to blink in this one.
On the other side, Eddie Hearn doesn't hold back. He says Conor Benn is walking straight into a nightmare matchup. The real challenge isn't Benn's skill, but the huge size disadvantage he faces. Moving up 2 weight classes is a massive task. It changes everything. At his natural weight, Benn would have been the favorite, but now the fight is a high-stakes gamble. The power difference between him and Eubank Jr. is clear, and Eubank's physicality could be a huge challenge for Benn. Eubank has superior size and stamina, and every moment in the ring becomes make or break. One wrong move, and it could all be over. The knockout potential from both sides is massive, and fans know this isn't just another fight. It's a full-on war. The real question is, can Benn rise above the weight disadvantage and prove he belongs at this elite level, or will the extra weight drain his power and expose his weaknesses? This fight is a ticking time bomb, and nobody knows when it will explode. Will Benn defy the odds and shock the world, or will the weight be his biggest downfall? The countdown is on.
No, not yet. I need to see what he looks like on the scales. If there was no rehydration clause, I would pick Eubank, but I need to see what he looks like on the scales first, and then with the rehydration clause, and he already looks bad. It's going to be a hard night for him.
Carl Frampton isn't holding back. He believes Chris Eubank Jr. might be walking straight into a nightmare, and the harsh truth is no one's really talking about it. The weight cut is already a tough challenge, but adding a rehydration clause could spell career disaster for Eubank. Frampton isn't sure Eubank will make it to the ring at full strength. He's waiting to see how Eubank looks on the scales before making any judgment. Without the extra restrictions, Frampton would fully back Eubank. But draining yourself before a high-stakes fight is a recipe for disaster. Eubank has always been a beast in the ring. But if his body fails him before the first punch is thrown, it won't just be a tough night. It could turn into a one-sided beating. Frampton sees the signs, and if Eubank looks weak at the weigh-in, this won't just be another fight. It could be the beginning of the end.
Look, it's a really good fight. You can look at it 2 ways, but I just look at it this way. You know, it's a big fight, and anything can happen, and that's why it's box office, and that's why it's a big draw. So it'd be explosive, and anything can happen in that fight, but I'm looking forward to it.
No problem.
Robert McCracken is fully invested in this fight, and his excitement is clear. He knows this isn't just another fight. It's a huge event that's going to electrify the entire boxing world. McCracken hits the nail on the head when he says this is a massive fight with endless potential for surprises. The unpredictability and raw danger of it all make this matchup so exciting. Both fighters are giving it everything they've got, and it's obvious this is box office material. Pure gold. McCracken is watching closely because in boxing, everything can change in a split second. One punch, one mistake, and the whole fight could flip. Fans are on the edge of their seats, knowing this showdown will be explosive. This isn't just a fight, it's a battle that could change the history books. The stage is set, and the fireworks are coming. Get ready for a historic night. This is the kind of fight that will leave a mark on boxing history, so don't miss it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates as we get closer to this monumental clash.